Very good morning to you. Thank you, everyone, for joining us here on Global Television. We're live in Abuja, capital city of Nigeria. This is Global Morning. I'm Uyi Agmofwewe.
Good morning, Uyi.
Good morning, Ramsey.
How was this? Let me ask. Even though I know, well, it's a beautiful week, and of course, I know it's a great week, and we are starting on a very beautiful note. Joining you on Global Morning today, it means it's a smooth ride already. So,
and the pleasure is all mine.
I'm grateful to be on Global Morning this morning with you. Global Morning this morning with you. That's all right.
That's a brilliant way of choosing words.
Ramsey Enokagbo, many thanks to all of you for joining us on Global Morning today. Just fasten your seatbelt as we get started.
And it's also not out of place to wish you the best of the new month that begins today. December is finally here, by the way, right? So yesterday, my girls saw Christmas items all over the place. Of course, you know how these things can be very colorful and attractive. And they're telling me, Dad, look at Christmas, look at Christmas. I'm like, it's not Christmas, they are Christmas items. All right, but that feeling of what time it is, the season, and things like that. And beyond the merriment and all of the razzmatazz around it, it's also an opportunity to take a look at our lives. A wise man once said, an unexamined life is not worth living, right? And see how far we've come this year. The idea is not to put pressure on yourself or to compare yourself with Ramsey. It is to look at the goals you set for yourself at the beginning of the year, vis-a-vis how far you've come. And then you're also able to monitor progress. It's not only governments that should monitor progress, individuals should track progress as well. And ask yourself, what exactly do I need to do differently going into 2026?
2026. As a matter of fact, even in January, a lot of people wrote so many things down. Yes, you remember.
Right.
As they are doing their New Year resolution, which a lot of people went back to after January, of course. There were also people that wrote, these are the things I want to achieve in 2025. So by now we should be doing a check, maybe an audit of how far we've been able to come, And one thing that all of us need to be grateful for is for life, because so much happened this year. Like you said, my baby went through my phone this morning immediately after devotion. I thought, oh, it is 1st December, and she ran and went to tell her mommy, this is it is 1st December, Christmas has come and all of that.
Right.
So the excitement that comes with December is unimaginable. Is so sweet, and not just for Christians alone, because December is just like the end of the year
for everybody.
So you begin to count, your blessings, your losses, everything you went through, how you survived it, and all of that. But then, like you said, most importantly, it is not a time to put anybody under pressure.
Right.
That's one of the things I keep telling people. This is not the time to start comparing yourself with others. The truth is, nobody tells you what they are going through, and you are not God. You can't know what everyone is going through.
Right.
There are people are smiling. They have decided, to overpower whatever the circumstance
against all odds.
Against all odds.
Right.
So your comparison is, should I say, deadly. It's deadly to compare yourself to other people, because you don't really know what they won't tell you.
Right.
And that's the reason I tell people all the time, especially for the other gender who knows how to do compare some genders or some individuals. Let me just use that word, so some people don't come for me. As it is, there is no need. There is no need comparing yourself with anyone. That your life is a great deal. December has come. It will go, and another December will still come. So all we should be praying for is, God, give us the grace to see more Decembers, irrespective of everything, even though we are trusting God for things to get stable. Any moment from now, there have been a couple of meetings here and there, to calm down the situation in the country right now. So all things being equal, this December is going to be a great one. So happy new month to everyone out there, and I wish you a very successful December. We will see many more Decembers.
Of course, you can take Ramsey's word to the bank. He has told you that this December is going to be an amazing one. But then something amazing, well, for some reason has also happened. The ambassadorial list is finally out. It's been a long time coming. It's a big conversation on the show this morning. Of course, lots more will also happen going forward. But let's take a quick break. When we return, we'll talk to you about how to appeal to what is called your pleasure zones in your brain to help you drive real-time change going into a new year, 2026, beyond all of the noise regarding politics and election. Do stay with us. Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
What is your problem? What's your problem? We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Challenges we have as human beings is that we are limited when it comes to taking actions. We can be very amazing in terms of putting together a plan. We can be very big on ambition, especially when you're starting the new year. Like Ramsey said, we write a lot about our new year goals, the things we want to achieve, the things we want to start doing now, those we want to leave behind and things like that. But how is it that a few days, few weeks into the new year, it's like everything goes into smoke? What really informs that? First of all is action requires discipline. Beyond motivation, you need to find a way to incentivize action. What does that mean? It simply means that as a student, let's say you're an undergraduate, for example, one of the things you can do is to say, I want to read at least 1 hour every day, beyond what I learn in school, beyond the classroom and all of that. And then you tell yourself, for every time I read 1 hour on a particular day, this is what I would do to reward myself. It doesn't necessarily need to be a material thing. It doesn't necessarily need to be food or drink or money or whatever. I mean, something in that range. It can be you taking a break, all right, to just relax, and you can tell yourself, for example, I can see a movie because I've done something that's worth the while, something that contributes ultimately to my goal. So you create those incentives, and they appeal to the part of the brain, of course that's called dopamine, by the way, all right, which enjoys pleasure, which does not like wahala and stress and being dragged and things like that. But the beautiful thing is, while you're enjoying that, you are achieving your goal 1 hour every day, and by the time it's end of the academic session, you'll be amazed how much you have covered in addition to your regular school routine. That's for those who are undergraduate, for example. What if you are a marketer, say you do marketing, you're a business development executive, you're a marketing manager, or you're just the kind of person who sells things, products, services, and things like that? What do you do? Beyond the target you may have been given at work, you can decide to say, okay, well, what I want to do is to say, I will talk to 25 prospects every day, either in person, on WhatsApp, or via phone calls. Of course, they are called cold calls. You can do all of those. And then you tell yourself, for every time I hit that target of 25, of course, again, there's no rule that says you can't go beyond that threshold. I'm going to buy myself a drink. Of course, it has to be a healthy drink, not the kind that carries a lot of processed sugar. But the long and short of the story is we must find a way to incentivize action, because motivation is not enough. It's the reason you realize that people criticize motivation. But motivation is not the problem. It is what you do with motivation, because ultimately the person motivating you wants to drive you to action, but that person won't be there, all right, to take you by the hand every morning, to wake you up every morning, or to remind you that your alarm is ringing out, all right? So it's got to be you taking the lessons from motivation and then ensuring that you run with them, you put life into what you get from motivation. And the good thing is Ramsey Enoch-Agbo is standing by this morning to motivate us, and he looks forward to seeing what we will do with that piece of motivation.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
What's your problem? We're
on the road to protest. And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Well, it's another beautiful time today again as we look at you understanding your destiny. How do we understand our destiny? A lot of people have actually mixed it in life because they don't understand their destiny. But I think it's important for us to know that our destinies are different as human beings, but something is common with everyone. It's not how people look at you that matters, but how you look at yourself. So let's get started by letting you know that you need to stop seeing yourself like some inferior or wastable material. You know, you have to stop seeing yourself as some wasteful material. The way you see yourself, all right, determine how far you will go, how you coordinate yourself. As a matter of fact, we live in a world, all right, a generation, as a matter of fact, where many people take everything that happens to them as their destiny. People look at what happened to other people as their destiny. Oh, wow, this situation, this is what this person is going through. And people look at it as, well, that is his destiny, that is her destiny. No, you need to stand your ground and take your destiny, okay, up by yourself. When something bad happens to someone, some people would say, well, that is his or her destiny. But it's not supposed to be so. And the truth is, what you believe determines what you receive. As a matter of fact, this is coming from the seed of destiny, of course. I was going through the devotional and so many things, inspirations begin to come to my mind, and I begin to have a common understanding that people need to see themselves as men and women destined for greatness. Before you can become great, you already conceive it in your heart. You need to believe that every experience is coming for a reason. Your belief affects your experience. You need to know that. So it is actually critical and crucial for you to understand what destiny is all about. It is also important to know what God's plan for your life is. I tell people oftentimes, I said, well, God doesn't ask your neighbor before he bless you, before he helps you achieve your destiny, before he makes you a governor. He don't bother asking your brothers, your sisters, because you are destined to be it. Before he even make you the big man that you are, or wherever you are today, or wherever you are aspiring to be, before you get there, God already knows it, because he knows the end from the beginning. And you don't need to attribute negative things to your destiny so you can actually fulfill your destiny. But you need to plan it. You need to live it. You need to act it. Now, let's look at what destiny is all about. Destiny is the expected end that God has planned for you, the expected end, that thing you want to achieve. There is a saying that the end justifies the means of everything. So your destiny is the expected end of your life. All right? It is the expected end, not what happens by chance, not what happens by coincidence.
not the unexpected negative or tragic things that happens to you. I also want you to know that destiny is what divinity thinks about you, what God thinks about you, what you think about yourself, or the blueprint for you, God's blueprint for you. It is crucial to note that God has no little plan or thought for anyone. So when you want to live your life like someone that God has planned big for. You don't need to think small of yourself, all right? Plan mega things for yourself. Think of yourself being a giant. Whatever you want to do, do enormous things. Venture into it, all right? It doesn't matter whether you tried the first time and you failed. Try it again. They are grand plans for you, okay? It says through so many things will prove to you that what you really want to be, you can become it. You need to work towards it. That is what it means. Now, let us look at what our destiny is. Our destiny, okay, is meant to be something that we look at and we want to achieve. We are created. God creates you so that you can dominate. Our destiny puts us in charge of the affairs of life. Be in charge of the affairs of life. Don't allow the affairs of life, the circumstances of your life dictate how you live your life or how you think. If you really want to achieve your destiny, you need to live above the circumstances around you. All right? And of course, you need to be on top of your game every time. We have the destiny of the eagle. You know about the eagle. The eagle symbolizes so many things. As a matter of fact, they that wait upon what God has destined them to be renew their strength. They mount up with wings like eagle. All right? They run and they are not weary because you have a target. There is a destiny you're pursuing. The meaning of this is that whatever the eagle is among the bird, whenever you see the eagle among the bird, it is what you design yourself to be that you become among men. That's why the eagle is always different when you see it in the midst of other birds. The eagle is the king of the birds, whether you like it or not. The eagle flies 10,000 feet above sea level. How many birds can do that? It carries a weight 3 times its size, moves almost at the speed of a car. That is an eagle we're talking about here, that you are likened unto. It is a symbol of royalty and dignity in many cultures. It's also a symbol of power and authority. It features prominently in the coat of arms of Nigeria, not just Nigeria alone, many nations of the earth. That is the eagle, and that is who you are meant to be. That is what you are meant to emulate if you want to achieve a very colorful destiny. A lot of people want to achieve a very colorful destiny. Beloved, my dear brothers, my dear sisters, everyone watching me right now, you need to stop seeing yourself as a chicken. Stop seeing yourself, as a matter of fact, like some inferior or stable material that doesn't matter. Maybe because of your circumstance, because of your background, because of what people say you are, because of the way people look at you. You must live with the mentality and audacity of an eagle. Tell yourself you are unstoppable. Eagles terrorize other animals. You are meant to take over your territory. Every single person on the face of the earth is destined to become what they want to become. Have you seen the eagle dealing with a snake before? Severally. So you are the one to terrorize the enemies, the people, the men and women around you who are talking you down, who don't want you to amount to anything. You can be a success. You can be a wealthy man, a wealthy woman, a sought after. Remember that you need to stop seeing yourself like someone who is inferior or a wastable material. Do you know what? Let me tell you this. After listening to me, this is what I want you to do. I want you to, from today, start moving with the mentality of an eagle and refuse to be intimidated by anything or anyone or any circumstance. You also need to refuse yourself less than how God sees you, not how human being sees you. Consciously remind yourself of who you are. Speak positively to yourself because you are the seed of success. I know someone has been motivated, someone has been pushed to the fore to achieve whatever you are created to achieve and become what you are destined to become. Congratulations to you. My name is Ramsey Enoch. Have a beautiful day.
All right, let's take a look at the paper for you, everyone. We begin from the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. Of course, we have the big one there. It says, bandits abduct pastor, wife, parishioners in Kogi. Just a single rider with it. Kidnap bridesmaids in Sokoto. Quite a devastating development there. Above that headline, we have three more. Top right, military rescues 12 girls kidnapped in Borno. That's the one we understand that Senator Leon Dume, representing Borno South, commended the military for this weekend. Experts push for sale of refineries amidst 2.92 trillion naira investment in 2024. 2027 is obedient movement losing steam. Well, you can read up for yourself when you look at the Daily Trust newspaper today. World AIDS Day, patients fear resurgence as U.S. halts funding. How I escaped bandits who abducted 7 in FCT community. PDP, APC ask Tinubu to withdraw ambassadorial lists over Yakubu's nomination. What's wrong with Professor Mahmood Yakubu being nominated as an ambassador? Well, you'll find those details on today's issue of the Daily Trust newspaper. Dangote moves to supply 50 million liters of petrol daily. That's quite a lot, as they say in the industry. The intention is obviously to wet the market. All right, read up all those details from today's issue of the Daily Trust newspaper as Ramsey walks us through headlines from the Nigerian Tribune now.
All right, let's quickly look at the Nigerian Tribune and see the headlines that we have there. Above the nameplate, we have a couple of headlines, and this first one says, alleged lead poisoning. Ogun begins free testing of Ogijo residents. Ex-SSG Adeoti quits Aregbeshala's group. Dangote refinery to supply 1.5 billion liters of petrol monthly. Right? I think the more they supply, I think the price should be lesser.
Yes,
I think
pressure too should significantly reduce.
Because the two things that Nigerians, especially people who sell, took advantage of in 2025 was dollar increase and fuel price. So at least with this, we should be talking about reduction in the price of our pump price. All right, good one. We'll patiently wait for when this will come to stay. The big story on the Nigerian Tribune says a bandit strike in Kogi as troop thwarts terrorist attack in Chibok. Others. One rider to that story, and the rider says Ekiti deploys security personnel in Kogi, Kwara boundary communities. Atiku raises the alarm on NNPCL's expenditure. I think our business correspondent was actually doing business last week, and with anger, we asked him. He said, "How would you say you are repairing, maintaining the refinery for this humongous amount when we don't have it producing nothing?"
Right.
I want to write that to that story actually, and the writer says alleged Tinubu administration sustaining subsidy payment. NECO accredits schools in Burkina Faso for SSCE BEC exams. All right, and of course, we also have this one which says terrorism incubated under your watch. Presidency replies Obasanjo. Then one writer to that story, and the writer says Tinubu won't outsource security to foreign powers. It states a cost of FATF grill listing. That's the kicker. Cardoso laments a $30 billion potential investment loss in 1 year. Over 25,000 foreign vessels illegally trading in Nigerian waters. This is coming from Arigbe Shola. One writer to that story, and it says Nigeria losing 7 trillion naira annually to maritime regulatory gaps. Wike approves commencement of enforcement action on 1,095 properties in FCC. And of course, I think this is the last. A severe gum disease contributes to low libido in men. That's coming from expert. Very vital. That's a health tip. Severe gum disease contributes to low libido in men. Those are the headlines from the Nigerian Tribune this morning.
All right, thank you, Ramsey. Let's bring you the Vanguard newspaper now, where we begin from the very top of it. And then it says, Dangote refinery to supply 1.5 billion naira, 1.5 billion liters of petrol monthly. Again, going by the 50 million liters per day target that it has set. So it comes to cumulative 1.5 billion liters on a monthly basis. FDI loses ground despite surge in inflows as a foreign direct investment. Presidency to Obasanjo. Terrorism took roots under your watch. You know, the former president, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, had ambassaded this government just a few days ago, saying that government should be able to do more with technology now driving the conversation around every other thing, including insecurity. All right? Insecurity, bandits unleash terror in Kogi, Kano, Sokoto, Kwara. Those details are on page 5, but the headline also has a number of riders with it. Nigerian schools need security education now. That's Soyinka. Be courageous to tackle insecurity, reconcile Nigerians. Subakari tells Tinubu, we'll rescue all Ejiba church victims. Kogi government. Niger kidnappings. Church confirms 4 children of catechist among victims. On page 6. Ambassador designates mixed reactions trailed Ikbazu Ugwai others nomination. Abacha loots, EFCC seizes Malami's passport. We understand they have confiscated his passports and restricted his movements. Plus, he has to now report to the EFCC on a daily basis until this matter is dispensed with. And if he needs to travel under any circumstance, he must get express approval from the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission as well. Those are some of the preconditions for his release. All right, Odusho Solo's landfill size to be shot in 18 months. That's according to Lagos State government. New tax regime may trigger capital flight. Ex-Nasima chair. Well, we'll wait for 1st of January to see what happens once those new tax regulations kick in. Delayed trials undermine rule of law. Governor Yusuf. Delayed trials undermine rule of law. That's credited to Kano State's governor. Those are headlines from the Vanguard today. Do yourself a favor, read up details as we take you to the Leadership newspaper now.
All right, let's quickly look at the Leadership newspaper this morning. I'll begin from the top left corner where it says, Kogi pastor, wife orders abducted during church service. I think it's more like someone doing what we used to call last fight. Those days, if you're watching a movie, you know, when the actor and the boss are fighting that last fight, it's more like that's what is happening right now with the terrorists. Well, I think their time is over in Nigeria, and they are trying to do their overtime, you know, running from pillars to pole, doing whatever they are doing. But kudos to the government who have not relaxed over this situation, and we hope to see all of this come to an end anytime soon. President Sito Obasanjo, we won't outsource Nigeria's security. One writer to that story says terrorism grew under former president. Details you can find on page 4. Then Nigeria can earn 70 trillion naira from marine blue economy annually. This is coming from Agbakoba. And also, National Examination Council expands global presence to Burkina Faso. Then, now we have this story to the left-hand side of the Leadership, which says, Niger, after protest, diocese begins registering parents of abducted students. Arewa Consultative Forum, Northern elders mourn Sheikh Dahiru Bauchi. Oyo terminates 8.2 billion naira 11 megawatt power contract. Wike vows to sanction contractors over unauthorized project variations. And of course, now to the big story, which says Oyedele, tax IDs not required for strictly personal bank accounts. Tax ID numbers not required for strictly personal bank accounts. One writer to that story says you need a tax ID for bank account if it's used for business transactions. If you are not using the account for business, you do not need to attach your tax ID. All right, I think that is explanatory enough. For now, these are the headlines from the Leadership newspaper for us.
All right. Let's move away from the Leadership now and take a look at the Guardian newspaper, which has just a handful of headlines for us this morning. First off, one with a picture of President Bola Tinubu here. It says, discordant tunes trail Tinubu's ambassadorial list. What are the implications? Well, join us as we find out on the show this morning. Fresh abductions, killings, test Tinubu's security emergency, heightened anxiety. Those details are on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. Dangote refinery to supply 1.5 billion liters of PMS monthly. And then it leads us to the big one. 42,000 schools still vulnerable despite $30 million Safe School funds. So it's time to match the results we're saying regarding Safe Schools with the $30 million dollar funding. As of today, going by the prevalent exchange rates, $40 million will be in far in excess of 40 billion naira. That's a whole lot of money in today's Nigeria. So somebody should be held accountable. A lot of explanation required in this regard. But in the meantime, those are your headlines from The Guardian. Be sure to read up details. Let's take a look at just one more. That will be the Punch newspaper now before we move on to the next segment.
All right. On the Punch newspaper this morning, we have this headline above the nameplate. It says, bandit kidnapped 490 in 2 weeks rampage. Insecurity, state assemblies moved to debate state pleas. A federal government, ASU, enter talks on 40% pay rise. And now the big story says accrued for loans. That's the kicker. The rider, beg your pardon. NNPCL battles 8 trillion naira outstanding debt. And of course, this one says 828 million liters of petrol imported to avert nationwide shortage. 2027 is the kicker. I won't settle for VP slot, says Amaechi. Wow. I won't settle for VP slot, says Amaechi. All right. That's one of the factions of the People's Democratic Party. And of course, let's see how that is going to go. The time is short. Let's see what happens next. All right. Those are the headlines from the Punch newspaper for this morning.
Okay, I would like to say a big thank you to you for joining us here, looking at the papers this morning. As always, we'd like to remind you that you have to read up details. That way you have context and perspective. More importantly, be able to stay ahead of fake news and misinformation. Remember as well that Global Television and the team here on Global Morning do not in any way contribute to these headlines or their details. All we do is bring you the headlines exactly as published by the respective publishers. We're taking a quick break, everyone. When we return, it will be time to join Ogochukwu Mobuno, who will bring you Social Buzz.
Global. Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
What is your problem? What's your problem?
We're on the road to protest. And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
What is your problem? What's your problem?
We're on the road to protest. And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Good morning, the Global Morning crew, and good morning to you, our viewers. It's a beautiful Monday morning, and of course, it's the first day of December, so it's okay to say Happy New Month. I am Ogochikumo, and we are about to look at what's buzzing on the internet. It's a lot on the internet, and we are moving away from insecurity because it's something that we cannot stop talking about, but we'll just take a pause from it today. And it's all about the president's list for ambassadorial nominees. President Tinubu nominates Fani Kayode, Omokri Ajimobi, former INEC boss Yakubu Mahmoud, and others as ambassadors. President Tinubu has sent the names of 32 ambassadorial nominees to the Senate for confirmation. In two separate letters to the Senate President Godswill Akpabio, the President asked the Senate to expeditiously consider and confirm 15 nominees as career ambassadors and 17 nominees as non-career ambassadors. The list sent to the Senate had 10 women, 10 men and 4 women on the career ambassadors list and 6 women on the non-career ambassadors list. So this list is everywhere on social media, and I must tell you, since the release of this list, a lot has been happening. The comment sections on social media has been buzzing. Some persons don't really seem to agree with the list, and some to them is more like compensation than competence. We'll be looking at some comments from social media regarding this list. And the first comment is coming from a queen with a beautiful soul, and Queen says, go to Ministry of Foreign Affairs. They are civil servants that are competent and trained to be ambassadors. Okay. The second one is coming from the Genius Doctor, and the Genius Doctor says, if Nigeria was a working country, ambassadorial list should be determined by the State of Assembly of each state based on credibility. This one na reward for blind followership. All right. That's from the Genius Doctor. And the last but not the least comment for this topic is coming from Steve Agada. And Steve says, the inclusion of the former INEC chairman in this appointment has confirmed everything we have been speculating since that election. All right. Okay, that's all we have for the comments for this particular topic, but I'm not alone today. I have with me Uyi Agomofwegbe. Good morning, Uyi.
Good morning, Ogochukwu. It's so nice to see you. Happy New Month, first of all.
Happy New Month to you. So everyone has been talking about the list, the nominated list for ambassadors, and I also heard you talking about it in the newspapers. It's all over the newspapers. It's either you're seeing ambassadorial list or you're seeing one bandit, disturbing one state or the other, but we're talking about this ambassadorial list this morning. And I must tell you, just like the comments read, a lot of persons are not really comfortable with some of the names listed, and they feel like it's more of compensation than competence. What do you think about that list, Uyi?
Okay, first of all, I think for many persons, I don't know what the number is, but there are people who feel some semblance of relief, knowing that at least finally the list has been released. We had heard speculations the other day, just a few days ago, the president has sent 3 names. But now we have something more, if you like, comprehensive. I don't know if it's exhaustive, but it's far more comprehensive. You have a total of 32 names, 15 career ambassadors, 17 non-career ambassadors. And now let's get to the heart of the matter. We're seeing especially across social media, how certain names have been highlighted, singled out for either criticism or some sort of assessments. For example, immediate partner, chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, has been one of them. Of course, if you look at the way Nigeria has worked, especially since 1999, every chairman of INEC, whether when they're in office, in fact, right from the point they're nominated, all through their service or their tenure, even after they leave office, always would have to suffer one form of criticism or another. So now that President Bola Tinubu, for reasons best known to him, decided to include his name in this list, it was only natural that a section of Nigerians will react a certain way. For some, it was compensation. In fact, I saw a post somewhere where someone theorized that it's compensation for what he did for the APC in 2019 and 2023. Those are well, theories you cannot substantiate just yet. But we can probe the intention of the president, the intention behind the president's choice of these people that he has chosen. There are those who say, well, there are people in the Foreign Affairs Ministry who can do this job very well. They've been trained, they've grown. I mean, they've risen through the ranks into the job. They understand the dynamics home and abroad. They know what it means to be in foreign missions and things like that. That argument is sound. That argument is valid. However, there's something called political patronage, all right? That has to be an element in appointments such as these, which is the reason you have 17 people. For example, there are those who have also singled out Reno Omokri. They say, look, this man has been a hype man for the APC and President Tinubu, so this is compensation for him. And Reno Omokri, in his characteristic nature, has not failed to come out, if you like, mouth wide open, thanking the president for choosing him. In fact, he says President Tinubu has taught him the real meaning of what it means to forgive. So there's a lesson for Reno Omokri in this appointment, beyond the fact that, as some people now speculate, he will likely end up being Nigeria's ambassador in Pretoria, which is in South Africa. But in all, we want to believe that the president had the best of Nigeria's interest at heart when he made these choices, when he made this selection, beyond what some people may think on the basis of emotions or sentiments or biases and things like that. And those who are saying that, well, nobody was chosen from my state. How is it that you have people from Ogochukwu state, nobody from Oyi state, and things like that? So the president will have to also look at this, because the ADC and the PDP are now asking President Tinubu to withdraw this list, again for the same reasons essentially. But the president at this point in time, on the final note, must be guided by the best interests of the country, especially now that, first of all, this list delayed very significantly, and the second, Nigeria is at the point where it needs diplomatic representation as quickly as possible.
All right, so let's talk about Reno quickly. So Reno, there's a video right now circulating online where, you know, he was interviewed by Sheung, and on his program, I think something like The Mic, and, you know, Sheung asked him, if you were to be given an ambassadorial deal by the president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, this was in 2024, and he said, no, it can never happen. I can never be given that appointment, and I'll never accept it. Only for him to come out, I think he's one of the first persons who came out to, you know, appreciate President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, you know, saying that he taught him forgiveness, the act of forgiveness. But let's drop that. My problem with this list is a bit of recycling. In Nigeria now, I think we love recycling our leaders. These are people that you grew up, you know, watching on TV. They've been on the news for a very long time. And only for us, you see one person who was governor of one state, is being minister, now an ambassador, and, you know, they don't want to leave until that person dies. I have a problem with recycling. Just like one of the comments says, we have a lot of human resources. We have a lot of hands in the Foreign Affairs Ministry. We have a lot of people in different ministries that I think should have been representing, you know, these countries, you know, very well. But then we don't see that happening. What do you think about recycling? Don't you think it's high time we really stop all of these things? I don't care about the whole, you know, compensating people, but recycling is too much. Most of the faces we are seeing there, or the names, are names we've been seeing over time in the news. They are one thing or the other before. They've represented one thing or the other years ago. What do you think?
You know, a while ago, we established that the element of political patronage will always be there. Nigeria is a rental system of some kind, whether you like it or not, as sad, as unfortunate as that may sound. However, there's also something about experience. So we cannot speak for all of these people, these gentlemen and these ladies who have been picked, all 32 of them. But there are some of them you can tell come with what you call cognate experience under their belt, which means that they have experiences that align directly with this sort of role that the president intends to assign to them. All right. Of course, we cannot speak of say the same for the others who are basically career politicians or just some sort of if you like, sympathizers or patrons of the government of the day and things like that. But this is also a lesson in how that leadership must be taught to the next generation, which means the generation behind. Everybody in power today, whether you're a governor, a former governor, you're a minister, you're a legislator, on whatever level, must be able to have people they are mentoring, people who are their proteges, people that can take up from wherever they are going to leave off. All right, I've heard a very high-ranking politician who had been a governor in 1999 to 2007, now a Senate president doing more than one term already, saying that, look, anybody who thinks they can replace me in 2027 should go look for something else to engage themselves with, because I'm not ready to leave just yet. This is a man who is somewhere in the neighborhood of 70. All right, we're not saying because you're 70 you cannot leave. No, we're saying that there must be some sort of transition at some point. We must continue to think about succession. Organizations do that, corporations do that, businesses that understand forward-thinking approach do that. All right, what it simply means is that somebody has got to succeed at some point, but the question is, who are you investing in? Whether it's time, whether it's training, whether it's your experiences, whatever it is. Nigeria must have that. There must be that sort of system that has that smooth transition, so that we don't have to, like you say, recycle people, not because they necessarily have the wherewithal, but just because they belong in our camp, they are members of our party, we cannot afford to offend them because they are going to matter to us in the next cycle of elections and things like that. But again, we require leadership courage to be able to change the status quo.
All right, thank you so much, Uye, for your contribution to today's topic. I really appreciate it. And if you're at home watching, please drop your thoughts using the social media handles you're seeing on your screen. It's Global TV NG on YouTube. All you need to do is just to click on that, subscribe button, and also the bell like icon is going to notify you whenever we come your way next time. I am Ogoch Kumobno, and I'm saying please stay with us as Global Morning continues.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
What's your problem?
We're on the road to protest. And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
good evening and welcome to another exciting edition of Big Talk. Tonight on the program,
As always, it's a pleasure to have you join us here on Global Morning. I am Uyi Alpo.
You know how we do it on Social Post Extra, bringing you all the...
on the desk this evening, we have very topical issues to discuss. And of course,
welcome to your parliamentary program, The Parliament.
A joyful home doesn't happen by chance. It is built on...
Women can rise beyond traditional boundaries to claim their rightful place as
a numerous committee, about more than 12 committees.
Face to Face is a program that comes to you once in a week at about this time where we look into issues and discuss them. It gives you the opportunity to
world leaders in United Nigeria Entertainment Circle. And trust me, today you're about to get entertained.
Hello everyone and welcome to the program Talk Sports here on Global Television.
One of those is that platform where we bring young and talented artists.
Stay tuned, stay inspired, stay with Global Television on DSTV channel 365, on Star Times channel 276.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
What is your problem? What's your problem? We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
As a matter of fact, one of the things that a lot of Nigerians are looking at right now is the issue of leadership, and want to look at the youth. As a matter of fact, so many things happening in the country right now. We just saw the list of ambassadors coming out, and we have some persons who are not youth per se, but then I think the like of a mockery is not too old. As a matter of fact, that's one side of the whole story. But what do you think of youth development in this country? A lot of people talk about youth empowerment, but how developed are the youths? How mature in heart are the youths? How many of the youths are ready, for leadership positions? And of course, what can they offer? Would we actually see youthful exuberance playing out, or maybe exotic life, the Gen Z theme playing out, if the youths are being put into leadership position? How capable are youths, even though we have very brilliant Nigerian youth? Joining me on the conversation of this morning is all the way from the city of Lagos State is James Ezema. It's good to have you join us this morning, James Ezema. Hello. All right. By the time we establish that, it's good to have you join us this morning.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Good to be on the show this morning.
All right. Let's talk about youth development. How important is youth development as far as Nigerian youths are concerned?
Well, youth development and empowerment is very, very, very important because young people are the future of every nation, and if you don't work intentionally, to deal with the capacity building, the development of the young population, you have sacrificed the future of the country. So we are a country, we should have a sustainable plan for youth development. And that is one of the reasons why most people will tell you that they tell young people of tomorrow, they begin to wonder, because the tomorrow never comes. They continue to be told, made promises to that tomorrow will come. You are the leader tomorrow. You are the leader tomorrow, and that tomorrow that we were hoping to come yesterday is today. And today we don't have young people actually taking care and taking charge of our affairs, as it were. But when it comes to the private sector, you will see that when they want to employ in the private sector, because they are looking for results, because they are looking for productivity, because they are looking for excellence, they go for the young people. Most times you see some banks, they want to employ, they will say if you are a graduate and you are above 25 years, they will not engage you. So that's the way, that's how important young people are, young minds are. Developed young minds, and we cannot develop those young minds without deliberately and intentionally having a system that will help us develop them and reduce the human capital waste that we have in Nigeria. The human capital waste we have in Nigeria is so enormous that you will see young people talented, but the talents are not harnessed by the nation, and they some of them end up as motor parked out, just simply because they did not have access to education. Some of them end up as garage boys, just simply because this guy is a graduate, but there's no employment. And these are the issues. So youth, we cannot emphasize the need for a national plan on youth development, because if we don't, then we have sacrificed the future of the country, and the country will pay for it very, very dearly.
Now, all right, there is this Gen Z syndrome, all right, that is everywhere now. We're talking about the empowerment, all right, of youths for national leadership. Have we had youths in leadership who have actually performed very well, better than the older ones in the past? Because this is an advocate, sort of, just in form of an awareness creation for youth empowerment for national leadership.
See, Renzo, you see, let me tell you something. Some of the youths that have accessed leadership or political offices, how did they get there? Most of them got there through the processes that are corrupt, processes that they are by the recommendation of corrupt people. Most of them did not get there by their own individual merit, and that is why they will not perform just like we expect. Because the people that have access to government positions and political offices are either godsons of older politicians who have been taught the ways of the older politicians, and they are the ones that are being recommended. I can tell you that if we run our leadership selection process the way the private sector carry out their own leadership selection process, very transparently, looking for the best, I can tell you that Nigeria will be better for it when we have young people on the saddle. Sadly, most people that are called the young people that will make reference to and say they have not performed like the rest of, better than the older politicians is because of the way and manner they come. The processes that brought them, the processes are not fair, the processes are not transparent, the processes are always based on recommendation or imposition by those who are already there, who feel that they need to protect their own interests and they want somebody who will work according to plan. And that is why young people, when they get to office, we will see them just not doing anything different from those older politicians. And that's just the truth of it, because they don't get there by their own merit. And that's why we cannot say we have any serious example of a young person who have occupied office in Nigeria, because the process is as good as the end of it. If the process is flawed, then you cannot expect to have anything better or anything good coming out of the end of that process.
All right, you just talked about godfatherism in politics. I think if I could actually get what you were talking about. Now, let's look at the place of mentorship as it has to do with empowering youths for national development. How ready, do you think our youths for mentorship? Because it is a process. Becoming a leader, national leader, is a process. We have a lot of Nigerians doing fantastically well. Like, if you listen to my introduction, I was talking about how endowed Nigerians are, especially our youths, very intelligent set of people. But then, how many Nigerians, because I'm saying this because of the quick success syndrome that has eaten deeply into the fabric of the society to an extent. What is the place of mentorship as it has to do with empowering youths for national development?
First of all, let me look at the issue of the mentorship from a very different perspective. You see, the main fabric of the nation is bastardized, and because the country as it is, the country's leadership itself is not genuinely interested in youth development, then it is difficult. And that's why you see some of these people, as we call them, the Gen Zs, do some things just because they want to survive, because they have a system that have failed them, they have a country that have failed them. And then if you are talking of mentorship, who will mentor them? Who are the role models? Are these current leaders that we have, are they role models? Are they the people you can look at and say, okay, these people can become role models for our young people? And that is the problem we have as a country. Because we don't have role models, we don't have, if it's in businesses, yes, you can find one or two individuals, some people that you can say, yes, these people can mentor young people in business. But if it is in pure leadership, political leadership, who are the people that we can say they can be mentors for our young people? Where can we find them? Is it in the National Assembly? Is it in the State Assembly? Is it in the government houses in the state or at the federal level? I don't know how we are going to find these mentors. Are we going to find these individuals who are the same people who are decimating the system and causing hardship? What have they delivered that will make a young person to look up to them and say, yes, I want you to be my mentor? What successes have they recorded as leaders that somebody somewhere will now stand up and say, I want this person to be my mentor? Mentors are people whom you admire. You admire their ways, you like what they do, you admire their leadership qualities, and you say, no, I want to be like this person. So which among these, our leaders, our political leaders, can we look at and say, a young person can look at and say, I want to be like this man? And that is the problem And that's why this gap is there. The gap is there because these people are not showing any example, and nobody wants to learn their ways. Some of them that even want to do anything at all, they want to use what they have. Some of the young people today, they are more innovative, and they depend more on technologies and things like that. And these are the things some of these older politicians don't have. All those older leaders, they don't have it. So how do they impact those Gen Z, what we call Gen Z skills, like digital skills and things like that on them? They cannot. But these people acquire some of these skills on their own, and then because there's no national plan to include them in leadership, so they will now want to exploit those skills negatively. And that's why you see some of these guys, all kinds of fraud. You see them very intelligent, very knowledgeable, but the thing is that their skills are being diverted into something that is not in national interest, just because the leadership have left them. The leadership does not care. The leadership don't want to, accommodate them in national planning. And that is the reason why we have these young people who engage in all manner of things, and they are not interested in mentorship. Because what are you going to learn from somebody who is a corrupt politician? So it's better you go your own way and find your own way of how to deal with the issues around you and survive. And that's the major challenge that we're having in the country today. So any day we want to actually develop our young people, we will have to begin to look at how talk about skills and not just certificates, because most times people talk about it, the only thing that gives you job in Nigeria is the certificate, and you see that people do all kinds of things just to acquire the certificate in search of a white collar job wherever it is available. It's not about what you can deliver. It's not about what you can do. It is not about your skills, your ability, your qualities. No, it's about you must have 2-1, you must have first class. Then you see some people who just go there and all they do in school is to just have a first class, and at the end of it they come out and they're in search of job. I have a first class, I have a first class, but what can you now deliver in real sense of it? And these are the problems. That's where the gaps are. We have to begin to have a conscious plan to develop our young people, mentor them, and deal with issues that has to do with youth development. And one of our leadership group, the Not Too Young to Perform, we have made a plan. We have been making conscious plan to get these young people into some of these skills and ensure how we can develop them into entrepreneurs and then political leaders. So these are the things, but it has to be something that the government will be involved consciously. It's not just the lot is too much that it's not something individuals or just a few people can do. It is something that the government have to develop a national policy that will be followed up sustainably to ensure that we have young people that we can salvage from among these people that have found their way in the wrong places.
I think something is getting this. The whole thing is getting very interesting right now. Let's look at your perspective, all right, as it has to do with government position when you talk about empowering young people, the youth for national leadership. What's your perspective to the government's position, leaving aside the politicians now? Because from your indications, it means the politicians are not interested to bring up youths to become leaders, and of course that they can't even mentor them because they don't have anything to offer. According to you, generally now, what do you think is the position of the government generally, from the grassroots to the top, from the council ward down to the federal level. What's your perspective to the government's position?
Now, we cannot talk about the government without these politicians, because they are the ones that control the government, they are the ones that control the policies of government, and they are the ones that control the processes. You see, what happened at the grassroots, you mentioned the grassroots, can you, as a young person, no matter the leadership quality your own, go and contest for councillorship and win? Councillorship elections in Nigeria are just a mere arrangement where
he calls it a mere arrangement. Well, let's look at it.
How can you?
Yes, go ahead. Talk to us.
How can you develop leadership in a process that excludes young people, like elections at the local government level? Which young person can become a councillor? Because he is talented, because he is skilled, because he has the leadership quality. Unless someone somewhere imposes you, you cannot become. And then the elections are not free and fair. So, the whole thing is skewed against the young person, because it is this same warped politicians that are the ones that are in control of the system, that are the ones that are in control of the selection process, that are the ones that decide who becomes what. And that is the problem. So the government have to come to the level where there should be a kind of a setting up of a national and a local mentorship network that will be something that people can actually these young people can actually buy into it. They can decide to do it through their alumni association, professional bodies, or some other kinds of arrangements that are outside of the government circle itself, because the government in itself have people who are not interested and have people who are more interested in what they are going to get, the perk of office, than even in the actual work of trying to secure the future of young people. That's why you see today young people are everywhere and into all kinds of crime, because nobody cares. Nobody cares. You can see ASU and government, how they are going back and forth in the education sector. Is that how a government should build a future for each young people? The young people cannot go to school. After a period of time, then there will be a strike, and then you will discover that you cannot continue education. Then you will be wandering around the community, around the city, joblessly, aimlessly, and doing nothing because your school is short. So, and then not to talk of the current insecurity in the country, which has jeopardized education virtually on every state. You see in some places they are hurriedly closing schools just because of this banditry and the kidnapping that is going on in schools. Is that how education should run? Some people will sit down and write a whole exam they are supposed to write in one term. They write it in 2 days just because they want to run away and close the school. Everybody will go home. So how can young people develop under that kind of condition? You can see the trauma, you can see the hardship, you can see the pain that they are passing through. And then how do they cope? How do they manage? So we have to develop mentorship and role models, that a system of mentorship and role models that we can be able to say, let us salvage the future of our young population.
All right. Thank you very much, James. Now, we're talking about something very sensitive here. We're talking about national leadership, and everything rises and falls on leadership. Now, are there positions, national leadership positions, that is supposed to be for the youth, and the ones that are not supposed to be for the youth, based on, number one, maturity of the heart, wisdom, and capability? Can you do that assessment?
See, first of all, let's even start from political parties. Have you ever seen most of the people who are youth leaders in political parties? These are people that you cannot call the youths, and then but the person is a youth leader. So it is a big problem. We have a systemic problem, and until we deal with the systemic problem we have that is skewed against young people, some of these things will not work. There are no agency, there are no ministries that young people cannot run. If they can run businesses of some of these politicians, because you have to bear in mind that these young people that we throw away when it comes to political leadership are the people that run the businesses of these politicians. When they want to employ, they look for these people and employ them in some of the businesses they are doing. While they are away doing their politicking, these young people are the ones growing their businesses. So, but they will not want these people to get involved in growing the nation, because they are not interested in they are not interested in the country itself. They are just interested in how they share the resources. Politics now has become a tool, and a tool for access to the resources of the nation, for sharing of the resources, sharing of the cake. If you are in political position, you have access to the sharing of the cake, and you'll be able to get whatever you can take home as a politician or as a leader. And that is where the problem is. If these people are interested in young people, they're interested in becoming role models themselves, then we will not have gotten to this point. But when they started doing what they are doing, these things have been impacting even on the mental health of these young people. Because when you see things that you are not supposed to, that is not supposed to actually be seen, you are looking at somebody and you believe that this person is supposed to be somebody that will teach you some things, and the person is doing the wrong thing. It impacts negatively on the mental health of these young people. And that's why some of them say, okay, if these people are in government, they are stealing money, they are corrupt, then let me also find a way how I can make up for myself. And that is why some of these people engage in some of these vices that we condemn. Yes, what they are doing cannot be encouraged, they cannot be excused. But the truth of it is that we don't have a system that produces young people. Even in our education system, do we integrate entrepreneurship and technology properly in our education system? No, it's just knowledge-based this thing that theoretical knowledge that you just go in, pass through the school, and you come out and they issue a certificate. But when you have come out of school, there's no entrepreneurship skill that is impacted in you. You don't have much of tech skills that are impacted on you. You don't have proper civic education that is impacted in you. So how will your orientation change? Your orientation cannot change, and that is where we have a problem. So young people can lead in any particular position, but the only problem is that these people will not create the enabling environment for us to grow skilled leadership and that could be the people to take over from some of them, because they already have the association plan where they have their children, their grandchildren, the children of the associates, they are planning to use and replace themselves.
All right, comrade, it's been a very wonderful time. It wouldn't have in any way been better than this. This is apt, and of course, this you've excellently spoken. We'll look forward to when we'll talk about this topic again. Finally, in just 1 minute, what's your last word of encouragement to the youths, preparing them for national leadership as we round up, just in 1 minute?
You see, when we encounter young people, we tell them that look, don't ever see these guys as role models. We don't have role models anywhere. Let's become our own role models. Let's be the ones to tell them that what you guys are doing are not all right, and then it's not acceptable. And that is the kind of process that we have started, that we are working on at the Not Too Young to Perform, that we are trying to raise a young people, a new crop of young people, young individuals, people who will never ever see all these people as role models. And that is the only conscious way, that is the only intentional way, and that is the only way for us to be able to salvage the situation.
All right.
Until we do the right thing by bringing them out systematically and consciously, we will not be able to salvage any of these young people.
All right. Thank you very much. James Ezema is a member of the Not Too Young to Run, and of course, is a political and public affairs analyst. Thank you for joining us all the way from Lagos State this morning.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye for now. And of course, this is what it is. National leadership, very important. But then, who is ready to fill in the gap, and who is ready to make it happen, make it a seamless process? Are the youths ready? Are the older ones ready? Is the process going to be a smooth and easy one? Well, every youth is a potential leader, and you need to work it out with your wisdom and your talent. Let's go on a quick break. After this break, Uyi Agbomofuegbe will be with you for the next conversation. Stay with us.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
What is your problem? What's your problem? We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
What is your problem? What's your problem? We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Once President Bola Tinubu released or announced the 32 names of ambassadorial nominees, the next thing we saw was reactions from Nigeria across board, both within and outside of the political space. Some have been highlighting concerns around the individuals who have now been, nominated. But then, next line of action would be the phase where they have to be screened by the Senate. Let's see those who make it through that screening and those who knows may not exactly do so. But all, the point here is that as it stands today, it is quite interesting how that some names popped up in that list that some people believe ought to not have come 1,000 foot close to it at all in the first instance. But we also want to look at the experiences that these people individually and collectively bring to the table, given the enormity of the task with which they will ultimately be assigned. To help look at this morning, I'm joined by Professor Ibrahim Abubakar. He's our in-house analyst when it comes to politics, issues of the economy, security, and of course, this sort of diplomatic conversation. Prof, good morning to you, and thank you for joining us this morning.
Good morning.
Let's begin with this list. For some, finally, the list is out. For those who have been agitating that the president or the federal government has been hesitating in terms of nominating ambassadorial appointees or, nominees. But today, the rest is history. The next phase of action is send these names to the Senate for screening. What have been your thoughts since this list was released?
My personal thoughts, well, good. We are supposed to have representatives and their excellency in various countries representing our president. That will reduce the tension, and as of today, I think he has done it, but the appointees and candidates are supposed to be what we are supposed to look at. If they have proper clearing, proper security clearing, and also clearing from the legislators, I don't think there's no other take that any Nigerian is going to take from it, right now. Except you are looking at the credibilities of the individuals who are so appointed or so nominated, since they have not gotten any clearance from them. Yes.
But Prof, there has also been concern around the numbers. For example, you have 15 of them being nominated as career ambassadors, then 17 being nominated as non-career ambassadors. Is that not an imbalance? Because some persons say it should have been the other way around, where you have more of career ambassadors than non-career ambassadors. Was that a political factor playing out?
Well, yeah, they said we have to compensate those who are playing one hand of the games in politics and the other. So I think it's compensating those who have played one hand of the game in politics.
Are we not overcompensating?
Well, you cannot say you have overcompensated people, because some people still believe that they are not even adequately compensated. So What is compensation if suppose we have a political party? We are talking of compensation because we have a political platform. And since a platform brought you in, they feel entitled.
And you have to satisfy their entitlement.
Yes. So that is the game that is being played out. But in a situation when we have a political party, nobody will feel entitled.
Because a political party is more robust, more vibrant, and more effective than a platform.
Yes.
All right, but let's talk about individuals now, because that's where this whole thing is heading eventually. People have been handpicking, or if you like, singling out individuals. Today, they talk about Professor Mahmood Yakubu, immediate past chairman of INEC. Then the next day is about Reno Omokri, and then you have other people being highlighted, including Femi Fani-Kayode, for example. What are some of the factors, if you like, elements that may be responsible for all of this criticism? Because these are people who have also proven themselves in some way.
For me, let me start with Mahmood Yakubu, because it is better you criticize your own than criticizing another person. This is somebody who was executive secretary of the
TED Fund.
No. He was executive secretary in what we call the Al-Majiri Education Commission. Then you become the chairman of INEC. You were the umpire that brought this man into
the current president.
Yes. Are you still coming to take an ambassadorial position? I think by so you don't need to tell anybody that you compromised during the election.
So, as an INEC chairman that he was, he shouldn't have taken this appointment just so he doesn't give the impression that he was compromised?
But that is what he has told everybody, that I compromised during the election.
By accepting this appointment?
Yes, very well. You don't need any abracadabra to tell you that you compromised during the election.
So you're saying the president should have left him out of this?
Yeah, that is the compensation. No, how can you be an umpire to a game and you are not playing the game too?
But is it not the call to serve your fatherland?
What is the call? Are they saying that there is no adequate person that can represent him? Because if you say it's a collective thing to serve the nation, and from his own cadre, is still saying that the only political scientist we have in this country, if that is the credential, or was he the first professor in that field? And the only professor, if that is the yardstick. So he has already linked himself to say, I compromise. And there is nothing anybody can do to me.
So can we also extend that criterion or that yardstick to gentlemen like Femi Fani-Kayode and Reno Omokri, because they also did not serve in INEC?
Femi Fani-Kayode, to me, it makes me see that the youth of Nigeria has no relevance in the term of things. At what age was he a special assistant before he became a minister? At what age is he now is taking an ambassadorial position? So if every other person, if you have to leave one office to the other, that is why I said the political class we have today, at the bottom, they give them a councillor, a local government councillor they will take, even if they have served as governors. Because they don't want to leave the stream of things in governance. They want to remain.
That's quite interesting. But then again, while on the one hand we understand being an ambassador, I mean that role, the job itself is very demanding, requires a lot of tact. You need to understand how dynamics work around the relationships between nations, latest global realities and things like that, right? Do you think ordinarily, as it stands today, that President Bola Tinubu should have maybe nominated far many more career ambassadors, because like a colleague said on the program this morning, there are people in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs who are career people when it comes to this sort of work. They've grown into the system, they understand the dynamics around it and things like that. Should they have gone to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to handpick these individuals?
I don't think so. There are people who are more sound than the career ambassador. What are they bringing to the table? Because we have seen career ambassadors that have served in various nations and has not given us what we call economic and business security from where they were serving. How many businesses was open for Nigerians all this while? We have been serving as ambassadors in various nations over the past 60-something years. How many businesses have we gotten outside the country? So what is the trade value index in various countries because we serve in those countries as ambassadors? So when we are not giving a tax and we are not projecting, then there is no way we will not say these are career ambassadors and these are political ambassadors. If I were Mr. President, I would say as an ambassador, this is what you must bring to us, to the table of Nigeria during your tenure.
So you set a target for them?
Yes, there must be a target.
Up until this time, we heard government say that, look, the major reason we have not deployed, ambassadors were not nominated or appointed and things like that, is on account of the fact that it's quite expensive. Funding is very low. I mean, we are cash constrained and things like this. Now, we have nominated over 30 of them, about 32 of them so far. If you add the other 3, including Mr. OK of the NIA, then you realize that we're looking at 35 ultimately. But then you're asking yourself, if we didn't have money some months ago or a few years ago for this same purpose, where is the money going to come from now? Will funding not still be a problem?
Are we supposed to fund our foreign missions if they actually train on how to sustain?
What's supposed to be their source of funding?
So how much do you think that American government is making from Nigeria because they have an embassy here? How much do you think the UK embassies are making? They are making billions of pounds out of Nigeria.
On account of visa processing?
No. You don't need account of... Visa is just a minor issue. Let me give you a yardstick. We have Schlumberger here. We have Halliburton's. We have Bill and Fingers. We have so many organizations, multinational companies here who are deployed from these other nations. Mm-hmm. The Italians has any oil and the rest. So what role have we played, have our embassies played outside the country to generate funds? That is the area where I said our business and economic security is in abeyance because we have never promoted our own. So we are relying. So what is happening in Nigeria here is over-reliance on the central body has killed our ideas and developmental templates. So we have to split it. So most of these people don't know what they call diplomacy and international business policies. So when you don't understand diplomacy, you don't understand international business policies, there is nothing you are going to do there that is going to bring yield any fruit. And in most of my discussion, I said such appointees are supposed to go for a retreat or a training for like a month before they resume duties.
But they still have a window of opportunity to do that.
No, it is not an open game for Nigeria. You resume duty. You resume duty, even when you don't know the terrain. These are people who don't even know where we are stuck in, fully stuck in Nigeria. And you are giving them appointment to go and do what? What are they going to market? Are they going to market Nigeria or demarket Nigeria? Because all they are celebrating is an office. I've been given an office. I'm now an ambassador. What did you have? What are you going to do there? So I can now understand if people like Rena Mokri are saying that they paid $5,000 to appear in Arise television.
But that has nothing to do with the ambassadorial nomination that he got.
That could be one of the tactics of getting a nomination, because he's outspoken and speaking for this. And these are aides to presidents before. So how do you think that they are faithful and truthful to you, to your service?
Interesting. But let's now look at the real issue here. Nigeria is not in a very good place in terms of foreign policy implementation, in terms of how we relate with other nations. I mean, starting with the US, for example, even with South Africa. In addition to that, when these nominees are eventually screened, all right, and then handed their portfolios, how rigorous, how demanding will their work be, given these global realities that we're dealing with?
You can only think of some of them just want the position to go and sit down and rest.
Not to engage.
Not to engage. They are not engaging with anybody. Because there is no task. There is no target. There is no idea. There is no modalities. There are no developmental templates. So you give them a credit certificate and they go and present it and resume their office. Whatever happens, happens. If maladministration, mismanagement does not mean only funds, but how adequately you run your office and how you engage in such services.
Let's now look at the fact that we delayed in deploying ambassadors to these different countries, even though we know, as they say, it's better late than never. What have we lost this whole time that we have not had adequate representation? And what do we do to maybe try to make up for that?
To me, what you lost when you are only spending and you are not gaining. If our foreign mission has been the one that we can say, oh, the foreign missions has generated about $5 billion of 1 trillion naira for the Nigerian economy, then we will now say, what do we lost? But these missions don't generate anything. So we lost nothing.
Even in terms of our diplomatic engagement.
What is the diplomatic engagement? Most of them who are there has never seen, maybe on some special occasions, they have never seen the presidents of the other countries any longer. Unless when our president wants to travel. I think in some missions where the president, the Nigerian president almost get embarrassed because of common clearance for the aircraft or so taking longer than expected, because we cannot we don't have the synergy with the other countries. So these are the things we are talking of. So in the screen of things, let's play it from one index to the next index. We are nowhere. That is why I'm asking now, are they going to market us or they are going to demarket us? Because over the years, we have been demarketed. No Nigeria has any protective mechanisms outside this country. And we have these mission offices everywhere. We don't have any data to show how many Nigerians are in a particular nation, because we are not doing anything. So they are supposed to go through a process, but, well, I have no say over the process they have to go through and what they are going to do. It is left for those who are the executives and the legislators to know what to do.
And speaking of the legislators, who we understand will ultimately screen these people that have been nominated by the president, in this case the Senate in particular, what kind of interface would you expect? I mean, this is different from when you are maybe, if you like, screening someone who has been nominated for CBN governor or for a ministerial position. That the dynamics around this are quite different. What kind of engagement should it be? Is it going to be a case of former legislators taking a bow, or just let them pass, at least to please the executive?
I can bet you that they will just read the names out and roll the names out and say, the normal say, those who say this, that, or who say nil, and they just approve and everybody goes.
The sort of the eyes have it culture?
Yes, the eyes have it. I think that is just the same thing that is going to happen.
The APC, I should say the ADC and the PDP are urging President Bola Tinubu to withdraw this list, and they have highlighted their reasons. I mean, is that valid? Is that something you think the president will give a thought to at all?
From our perspective, he has submitted this list, and that is just his own. That is just what he feels is the best for.
So it's cast in concrete now.
When the legislators are in your palm and the executives are in your palm, what else do? You play to the jamboree. You should know that whether the ADC, the PDP, they are all still political platforms. They are not parties.
So you're saying they don't have as much pressure, that they can't put as much pressure on the president as required?
You should also understand what happens in Wadata House the other day with Wike and the other governors. Then you should know that we are also, that gives way to you that it is not a political party, but it's a political platform.
How much of politics?
Governors who are immune, they have immunity, were tear gassed. A minister who has no immunity was playing to the jamboree. So what else do you want?
I was just going to ask you now before we take a break, how much of politics should be introduced or involved in this sort of nomination? Is it possible we're taking politics so far? Because even in the US, experts say that you can't divorce politics from ambassadorial nominations and appointments. That look, there are people who are appointed basically, in fact, purely on political grounds. I mean, are we overstepping anything here?
We are all political animals. If we're going into politics, we are all political animals. So even at your home, everybody is a political animal. A child is a political animal. That is why you can see that a child can play on the logics of the home to get attention. And the attention could be any way. It could cry in the hacks, not because the child wants to cry, but because of attention. So everybody is a political animal. So when you look at it from that perspective, then you should know that we are I'm not against anybody's appointment, but I am against the people, the persons that are taking these appointments.
All right, let's take a quick break now, everyone. When we return, we'll move beyond these immediate appointments or nominations to look at Nigeria's foreign policy framework. What has it been the last couple of decades? What is it like today? Is it in alignment with current realities, or are we just doing all of this for the show? We'll find out after this break. Please stay with us.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
What is your problem? What's your problem? We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
All right, it's now time to turn to issues of foreign policy, because ultimately these people who are being nominated, where they are now eventually screened and, of course, assigned their portfolios by the president, will have to be guided by some sort of rules of engagement, which again are anchored on Nigeria's foreign policy framework. Prof, let's talk about our foreign policy. I've heard those who are pundits in this field talk about how that our foreign policy needs a lot of, if you like, re-engineering, that we need to rework our foreign policy. What exactly is wrong with our framework?
Our foreign policies is not guided by proceedings, and some of the proceedings are security proceedings. It's lacking in some of our foreign policies. Then the foreign policies are also misguided by and influenced by some intruding international bodies. We are easily on flow with other communities. Then the fourth one is that we have made ourselves vulnerable to other nations, which makes our borders to be very porous. And the moment, thirdly, we are not guided by policies which enable us to uncover effectively intrusional bodies, mostly foreign intrusional bodies. So if we can go on and on the things that are actually affecting our foreign policies, then when you look at what was happening in the 70s, in the 60s, 50s, 60s, 70s to 80s, and you see what is happening today, you find out that it is because of intrusional and interventional system of the foreign bodies has actually affected our growth and development.
Speaking of foreign policy, Nigeria's relationship with the U.S. Came under strain recently. Then, of course, you look at how Nigeria has positioned itself regarding the war in Ukraine, that is the war between Russia and Ukraine, even though we know in the western part of the world it's referred to as Russian invasion of Ukraine. Nigeria foreign policy is such that we play neutral in cases like this. So Nigeria neither takes side with Russia nor side with Ukraine. Is that favoring us? Because a country like South Africa is very clear about where it's heading. It says, look, we are with Russia on this one, even though the United States government is not comfortable with that disposition. So should Nigeria tag along, or are we good where we stand?
You know the Nigerian system is that we have fiat in one hand and fear in the other side. So we have been built and molded as molds who stand erect without any direction. What we are lacking in Nigeria is directions. So am I to support Russia? What happens if I need the assistance of Ukraine.
But is that not how countries think?
If I am I to stand for Ukraine, what happens if? So all these are streamlined from our lifestyle to where you say, oh, there is no family in Nigeria that I would say is monogamous. We are all polygamous. So that polygamy has made us made our growth template to reflect on us, saying that, oh, I don't want to, I want to stand here. So our supporting gear and our benefit, we don't look at those proportionally. That is what is affecting us. So fiat and fear.
Side by side.
Yes.
Let's talk about UN politics now. Nigeria, alongside other nations on the continent, have been screaming and clamoring for permanent seats at the United Nations Security Council. The UN says, well, we are listening and we are taking cognizance of these calls, these requests, these demands, and we are going to do something about it. Is Africa, all 54 countries on this continent, being taken seriously by the leadership of the United Nations?
Then the United Nations Security Council for the next 10, 20 years will never approve an African country.
For a permanent seat?
For a permanent seat.
Why is that?
We should forget about it.
Why is that?
Because that is why they are building the insecurities in Africa.
And there's nothing the leadership of Africa or the leaders on this continent can do about that?
We have not sit up to look at what we want. We have no direction of what Africa want. We welcome everything that comes from the West, even in the bitterness of it. They promote what they cannot promote in their nations here. Because of their own personal benefits. Can somebody like Paul Biya of Cameroon still become president in the Western world? Who is promoting him to be there?
You think it's the French authorities?
He has for, I don't want to mention names, but he has people, he has nations that are backing him for their own selfish interest. So these are the things that we are supposed to know and we are supposed to get to know.
We saw countries like Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, all in West Africa say, look, we don't want to have anything to do with the French government going forward, right? And some people say, well, that was a courageous move. It was audacious to do that. Others say it was counterintuitive because these countries, for the foreseeable future, would need France and indeed countries from Europe. Do you think a country like Cameroon should have also told that path and be regarded as being courageous?
Cameroon can never throw that path.
Why?
Because they are already molded to fit into that system. Because their sustainability and their selfish interests still rely on those countries. You can remain in power as far as you allow us to do A, B, C, D.
Within your country?
Yes. Let's take it for example, Bakassi was a part of Nigeria which we ceded to Cameroon. Who are the people operating in Bakassi? The oil firms here, Total Fina F. Who are the owners of Total Fina F? France. So what are you going to do? All the crude oil are being sold by Total Fina F. They don't have a national body like we have a national body in Nigeria, which will say, okay, we have an NPC. We have Nigerian downstream regulatory authorities. They don't have this kind of bodies in Cameroon. produce whatever you tell us you produce, pay us our royalty.
And the cycle continues.
So the cycle continues. That is how it goes.
Let's wrap it up now, Prof. We've seen leaders on this continent, such as Paul Kagame of Rwanda, was seen William Ruto of Kenya speak up against Western influences, especially where those influences become overbearing. There are those who believe this is the way to go, that these leaders are being pathfinders. They are showing Africa, all right, how to push the frontiers and change the narrative ultimately. Is that a step in the right direction? Should other leaders on this continent, including in Nigeria, follow that path?
Well, if you know Paul Kagame very well, he was a security professional, so you should expect what is coming out of him. But then, you should know that the West has a particular interest on Africa, mostly in Nigeria, because Africa has not recognized their riches, and they don't know how to convert these riches to wealth. That is the problem of Africa, and that is the problem of Nigeria. And these people realize the riches Africa and Nigeria mostly has, and they can convert it into wealth. Knowing that in the index of growth, the potentials in the West is already about 95 to 97% gone.
Compared to Africa?
Africa still have about 90 to 95% untapped. There is some things I don't want to say about, but I can tell you for free that today they are bringing in what we call things to bring down and collapse African as a system and hijack Africa. And in the next, the agenda is in the next 10 to 50 years, Africa will fall back to their palm. They are not going to weaponize us. It's not weapon fighting. So when we don't have a system to counter these intrusional bodies, then we fall victims. I think in the next 50 years, I'm no longer in the world. So whatever they are going to do, the next generation may challenge them. But this is the right time for us to start
to put up that challenge, right?
Yes.
Quite interesting. Shows that beyond nominating ambassadors in Nigeria, Africa as a continent has a lot of work to do in terms of how it engages with the rest of the world. Well, I'd like to say a big thank you to you, Professor Ibrahim Abubakar, for taking our time.
Thank you very much
this morning to join us. Well, I would like to also say a big thank you to you, viewers, on behalf of the entire production team, my colleague Ramsey Enokagbo. Say we appreciate you for your time this morning. Remember that the views of our guests on all our programs are their opinions. This is Global Television. I am Uyi Agmofwebe. Our broadcast of programs continues.